Good afternoon. My name is John McPhail with My Goat Soap and My Soap Molds. Today what I'm going to do is show you how to use the new H-Block, which halves the mold, gives you many different varieties of many different options to be able to use the mold. The new H-Block, let me explain it. We have the H-Block itself. The reason it's called an H-Block is obvious. It fits inside the mold and you can move it all the way along. When the mold is in this position, this area here will hold 2 kilos of soap. When it's in the middle like that, with the spacer bar, you fill this area first, like we have done with the soap that I made, and you get 1 kilo. If you're doing 2, because I did on there line both sides, all you have to do then is take this out, then fill this one. That's why you always line both first. Now let me show you the numbers on the end. The number on the end here is the net weight of the mold. I put that number on there primarily because half the time when I'm doing a double batch or a triple batch, I forget to tear the scales. So how much am I pouring into each mold? And I usually want 2.5 kilos in each mold. So therefore all I've got to do is look there, look at the number, and then just take it off the scale number, and that gives me my net weight. The lining of the mold is quick and easy as well. I've got one here. Now I use my paper 3 or 4 times, but I use a good quality baking paper. I don't use the cheap ones. I found that you can use them once and you throw it away. If you get a good quality one, you can use it 4, 5, even 6 times before you've got to change. Right, now you've got one long piece, which is just placed in. And then just tuck it over the ends. These 2 end pieces here, this prevents any soap getting out and leaching into the mold itself. Gives you a nice clean finish to it. So they're going. You can put those in first and the long piece second, or the long piece first and these pieces second. It doesn't matter. You can see that I've already made a batch of soap in this one. And then you just lay the 3rd piece in. This is the full width, by the way, of the greaseproof roll. So you don't have to do any cutting there, you just got to cut the length. Put a couple of bits of sellotape on, just to keep it in place. And there's your mold lined, ready to fill. On the new molds, on the old ones, there is screws here and here holding it in. On the new ones, what I'm doing is, it's a new method, it's called biscuit joining. You drill a trench into each side, in there and in here, and then you put a biscuit in. Not a digestive, it's a little wooden oval which goes in, but it gives you a much greater glue area and it gives you a very strong joint. I think it looks a lot neater and tidier. So but it's still screwed on the bottom in the same way, because you've got to have the bottom screwed firmly. So that's not going to change. But I think that looks nicer and I'm trialing it. So when people get it, you might get 1 and 1, you might get 2 with 1. It just depends on how they are, because I always try and get the weights as close as possible for when I'm sending molds out to, if you're buying 2 molds or more. Now, with this done, let's go and make the soap. I've already prepared all the oils and everything. I'm doing a new batch, it's a trial. It is 2 oil soap, coconut and sweet almond oil. Come in and let's get started. Now, as you can see here, I've got the mold, I've got my mixer, I've got some sandalwood oil, which I've kept a little bit of the almond oil, and that's in there. That's to go in when it's at trace. I always keep a bottle of vinegar handy. The reason being that if you ever splash any of the mixture or the sodium hydroxide, you've got a quick fix to stop any burning or any damage being done, especially to your own skin. Right, let's get started. Paint scrapers, they're valuable, especially when you do your initial stirring and mixing. My sodium hydroxide, 40 degrees. My oils, 40 degrees. So we just combine it. and then just begin to stir. Isn't there? And while I'm stirring, I just fill the sodium hydroxide with water, just to dilute it and get it out of the way. Now, let's start the blend. I've got some air in there. Whoops. That can go off now. And look at that, it's white. There's only a small amount of almond oil. Whoops, got a little bit of air in. Try not to get air in yourself. That is actually getting close to trace. Close enough. Now I'm going to add the balance of my oil and the sandalwood. I chose sandalwood for this batch because my wife's favourite fragrance, sandalwood. But this is the essential oil, not the fragrance. And as all men know, you've got to keep in sweet with your wife. Just testing, and that's looking fairly close to trace now. Another quick look. Oops, that comes off. That can go there. And we're ready for it. Now, you see that's trace. It's a beautiful white colour. I'm quite pleased with that. We pour. And there we are. Bang the mould down. Right, that's it. Now, this will cure until tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll come back and I'll explain the cutter, its use, and we'll cut the soap, and you can see that you do get straight lines and you do get straight bars. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Hello, welcome again. Today we're going to unravel the soap. Let's hope it's soap and not porridge. And cut it and allow it to cure. So let's unravel it and see what we've got. Wrap the soap up after yesterday. Just a spare piece of board which I have. Now, getting the soap out of the mould. Very easy process. First, lift the gate and then give it a nudge and it just slides out very easily. You see one of the U-shaped pieces has stayed there. You just take that off. Isn't that beautiful and white? I'm wrapped. Very, very happy. Goes onto the cutting board. Now what I always do is I always put the paper back in the mould straight away. Yeah, that's done. That's ready for the next soaping. Then we've got the block. Now what you see here is it's much taller than the thing because I use the full height of the mould. So I'm setting the mould to 25 mil. Do you want to come over here and show you this? You see your baseline, 20, 25 and 30 mil are placed into the cutter. They're scored in with graphite pencil so that the markings will always be there. Set to 25 and then just tighten your wing nut. It's too tall, turn the mould on its side and it's still the full height of the cutter. And what we're going to do is cut 25mm bars. You'll notice on the cutter there is a sharpened edge. Always have that facing the front of your cutter. That way you get nice straight bars all the time. And then down we go. It's fairly firm, but it's still soft. And there we are, nice straight bar. Let's just, for the sake of argument, do this. Put the blade the other way. You can see that it's wider. So go back to doing it the right way and we get nice straight lines. Voila. These are for our use because this is the first trial batch that we do, so family and friends may get a look in, but these essentially are for Miles and I. Miles is my wife. There we go, and we've got a nice little end piece. You can see that there's very little residue in there. All I do with that is just wipe it out with a cloth. No need to use water or anything. What I've done with the molds and with the cutter is I've coated them with oil, linseed oil. Any cooking oil will do. Once a year, if you're not using your molds very often, just give it a light coating of oil. Put some oil onto a rag, not so it's wet, just a little bit damp. Then just wipe the mold over. If there's too much oil on it, wipe the oil off with a fresh rag. It just needs a very light coating to keep it, and that's all the maintenance that your mold will need, or your cutter. Okay, that's it. You've seen the soap, you've seen the soap cutter, you've seen everything that I have. I hope you enjoy it. Happy soaping. Take care. Bye for now.